If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson cries for every dime.
Welcome to Simply the Law, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Simply the Law provides free legal advice and encourages happiness and quality of life. Now, here's Simply the Law with Gary C. Johnson. Hello, everyone. I'm Keith Casebolt. Welcome into Simply the Law. My good friend Gary C. Johnson. One of these days, when this program comes on and we're laughing, we'll tell you why we're laughing.
Well, I'm going to tell you why.
Oh, don't do that, Gary.
By the way, how you folks doing? Good to see you. Good to be with you. Yippee, what another day, another week. We decided I said, Keith, we really need to talk about something important. He said, well, the table will inspire us. Look at the new top on the table. It is amazing. Good old table.
It's
and
our
he
friend.
Said, well, it's change, Gary, it's change. And he said, we need to change. We need to do this. We need to do that. And he said, well, I've been on this diet for 3 or 4 days and I've not lost a pound. Guess what? He's cheating if he's not lost a pound. Now, he may not know it.
You know, I knew he would tell on me. See, we were sitting here laughing, having a really good, friendly, private conversation, and then he goes and tells, I tried for 4 days. Mm-hmm. For 4 whole days, I tried to watch what I ate.
Well, it's hard to see your ears. You guys been doing any fighting this week? None, right? We're over that, out of our lives. Anger, out of our lives. Talked on a radio show the other day about something I want to talk to you folks about for just a second. And it is called Never Make an Enemy. There is no such thing, my friends, as a small enemy. That person that you make an enemy of today may be in a position 5, 10, 15 years from now to do great harm to you. While they look insignificant to you today, there's no such thing as an insignificant person. You never know what's going to happen in someone's life. So, your best bet, there is no small enemy. Do not make an enemy. Go to any lengths to keep from making an enemy if you can. Now, there's some people that are crazy. You can't deal with crazy. Okay? So you may have an enemy there, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Now, you know, I was watching you to see if you looked over at me when you said you can't deal with crazy. I was going to see if you gave me that wink. I like what you started with this. There is no small enemy because you never know when that person that you've had that fight with could end up being your boss, could be in a position that you're going to need their help. But Gary, there's something else to that you've taught me on this enemy. If you make an enemy, you've taught me you have to carry that burden around of keeping that battle going. You have to keep the fire stoked or you can't keep the enemy.
It's worse than that. You have to try to remember they're your enemy. That's really difficult. You know, I may have an enemy, but I swear to you, I don't remember it. I don't. Because it's, in other words, you get to decide how you feel. You get to decide whether or not you're going to harbor resentment. So it goes right back to that thing, don't take anything personal. Somebody may call you a milk cow. So what? Not personal. If somebody else had been standing there, they probably would have called them one. Don't take it personal.
You know what's funny?
And it's amazing the difference it'll make.
What's funny about this is I one time just tried to corner Gary, and I said, come on now, somebody has said something about you or somebody has done something to hurt your feelings. You've got to tell me. And Gary looked at me and said, well, I'm sure they have. I just can't remember who they are.
It's the truth.
And Gary, is that because the next day you wake up and your total focus is on happiness and getting the good out of that day that you just lose that out of your mind?
My responsibility is to me. I have the absolute responsibility to see to it that I have a sense of well-being and that I'm not miserable. You have that same exact responsibility to yourself. Now, you can't make anyone happy. You may say, I'm going to make them happy. No. If they're happy, it'll be because they choose to be happy, not because of what you did or did not do. But you have an absolute responsibility for yourself. You have the responsibility to choose whether you look at it as a half full cup or a half empty cup. It feels so much better to say, oh goody, I've still got half of that left, instead of whining about the fact half of it's gone. It's a simple choice. You have the responsibility. I've got the responsibility. My responsibility to myself is to try to feel good instead of bad. Now, if I'm harboring a resentment against someone, I can't feel good. If I'm mad at someone, I can't feel good. My brain won't let me. Therefore, I choose to not take it personal. Whatever happens, I don't take it personal. I say, okay, it just happens I was the one that was there being messed over. So what? I'm responsible for me. You are responsible for you. Now, let me take that a little bit further. You have the ability, because when the good Lord made you, He gave you the opportunity to be happy. Now, the responsibility for making yourself and being happy is yours. The good Lord's not going to make you happy. You don't have time to fool with it. You will. Nobody else is going to make you happy. But boy, trust me when I tell you, you can.
Yeah. You know, you really spelled this out for me, and I don't even know where you got the little story from, but you read, and it may have been Dale Carnegie, but you read me the story about the guy that went to Africa to sell shoes, and he called back and said, there's no opportunity here. Everyone is barefoot. No one's wearing shoes. This is a total bust. And they sent another guy, and he wrote back, what a wonderful opportunity this is. Everyone over here needs shoes. And you pointed that out to me. Same instance, same thing, but two totally different opinions.
It's all in it. When you were made, with all the uniqueness that comes with who you are, you were made with the ability to choose how you perceive what's going on around you. You say, well, Gary, it's reality. So what? And it's reality that this and this and this is happening. Choose to look at it in a way that's positive. It's going to happen anyhow. It's going to be what it's going to be. If you can change it, change it. The odds are you can't. Therefore, accept it. Flow with it. Don't get in that canoe and start trying to paddle up the river. Float down it. Go with the current. Mentally. And you will find yourself in a situation, my friends, to where that you can look out and see the moon and say, oh my God, isn't that wonderful? You can see a sunset and you can say, gosh almighty, there'll never be another sunset like that, but I get to see it today. You will look around you and you'll see people doing wondrous things that make our society work. You'll see people doing all kinds of jobs that make our society work, and you will be appreciative of the fact that they are doing those jobs. And if you get a chance, tell them. And hopefully that if you're doing some of those jobs, that someone will tell you how much they appreciate you. I'm telling you, Gary C. Johnson appreciates you if you're out there working, because I could not live the life I live if you didn't. I couldn't have the things I have if you didn't. I couldn't enjoy life if you didn't. Therefore, hallelujah, thank you is all I've got to say for being part of our system, because we are all on this rock together and we live here together, and we need to make the most of it But most of all, folks, we need to eke out some happiness, some feeling good, some sense of how important you truly are. And please, my friends, I hope none of you have forgot how important you are. You were extremely important to the good Lord when He chose to have you be on this earth. And if some human being has made you feel little or unimportant, do not fall into it, because they didn't get to decide you were born. The good Lord did.
Gary, the other day on your radio program, you had pulled up a list of the 10 things that people want in their life. And you read off the list, and it was safety, friendship, love, joy, money, everything. By the way, the number one was happiness. But after you read this whole list, you went back and you said, now, Keith, apply this one principle to every one of them. And the one principle was, if you're okay with who you are. And it worked on every one of them.
There was 10 things that people want most in life in that list, and we went through them on the radio. And then I got to looking at the collective list, and I realized that every single one of those you will have if you understand that you're okay with who you are. Once you get over that hurdle of accepting yourself as being the way you were meant to be, all of those other things will fall in place for you. It's just the way it is. So, my friends, your job this week is to make absolutely certain that you're okay with who you are. And please don't judge yourself based upon what someone else can or cannot do. Please don't do that. Judge yourself on the talents you were given. And you may not have been given the talent you want, but you were given a mighty fine one. And I'm going to tell that story again before we go to the computer about me not being able to play the guitar or the banjo or the flute
Or paint.
or anything.
Yeah.
Tried to draw something, I couldn't draw it. You couldn't give me a ruler to me draw a straight line. That's how good an artist I was. And growing up, and I'd watch people around me with these talents, I resented it. I really did. I'll bet you folks have been in that same position where you've seen someone that could do something really good and you just resented the fact they could do it and you couldn't. Because I really would like to have been able to play music and draw. No. I was down at New Orleans about 45 years ago, and I went out on this place called Jackson Square. And that's where the musicians and the artists would congregate. And there were musicians there that could play those instruments so you could almost hear the words coming out. They were so good. And there was artists there that could draw your picture just... And guess what, my friends? They had tin cups in front of them. I looked straight up and I said, thank you, Lord, for not giving me these talents. Because I'd have been here with them, with my tin cup.
And probably you're so thankful you dropped some money into the cup to say,
I'm telling you.
glad it's you and not me.
So if you're sitting around thinking you're not worthy and you don't have something to offer and you don't whatever, think about the tin cups and all those talented people down in New Orleans. Because I'm telling you, you were given what you need. Use it. Just because it wasn't what somebody else has got doesn't mean a thing. Because everyone has to have different talents or we couldn't survive. If everybody was musicians, we'd starve to death. We need all of these various talents. That's why, folks, you're unique. If you're okay with yourself, you will be happy. And that is your responsibility, to be okay with yourself. Now, if there's someone with you in the room, and I hope they are, look over at them and say right now, actually, taking it over, I think you're okay too. Glad you're here. Thank you. We're going to take a break and we'll come right back.
I'm glad he pointed that out. So not only are you okay, but the person that's with you is okay. Stay with us. More Gary C. Johnson and Simply the Law right after you see this.
Hello, I'm Gary C. Johnson. I've plowed with a mule, worked on the assembly line, been a janitor, machine operator, even worked on a garbage truck. When I started practicing law, losing was not an option. So I developed my own system, a system that was so much like judo that I called it judo law. It works. I have the largest verdict in the state of Kentucky. Give me a call, pound hurt.
Welcome back in to Simply the Law. I loved your start, and let me say this before you get into the heart of the program. The other day, you and I were working on a project, and we were trying to get some things right, and I thought, boy, I hope this is not becoming stressful or aggravating. And about the time I was thinking of that thought, you looked around at me and said, isn't this fun? Aren't we having fun? And I thought, here I forgot the lesson again. He is having fun out of something that other people might consider stressful or problematic, and you turned it into a game and you enjoyed it. And I wanted to pass that along to our friends because I thought that was a vitally important lesson.
Let's go to the computer. I got some things I want to talk to you folks about. There's our number in case any of you need to call us. You could also dial pound hurt on your cell phone if you need to. We have an office in Lexington because I have so many friends and people that actually go to Lexington or in that area that we put an office down there. If you ever get someone runs over you, give us a call. You can call pound hurt and actually get Lexington also on your cell phone. Go to GaryCJohnson.com if you need to find us. In general, please make sure you have underinsurance that protects you and your family. Now, a good friend of mine came in. I got to talk about this for a second. I'm almost tempted to tell who it is, but I'm not going to do that to him, okay? But he came in. He'd been in a wreck. And he said, hey, Gary, I watch your show all the time. Yeah. I said, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, I like the show. I watch it. So you've been in a wreck. Yeah, you hurt. Yeah, you got your cane there. Yep. Okay. Well, do you bring your insurance policy? I need to look at it to see how much underinsurance you have. And he looked at me real sheepishly. He said, I don't have underinsurance.
Oh, no. Well,
So I'm saying and he watched the show. He said, I heard you talk about it 100 times, Gary, but I don't have underinsurance. Friends, don't make that mistake. He needed that and I said, well, you didn't have it because you never planned on being in a wreck, isn't that right? He said, yeah, that's right. I didn't have it because I wasn't going to ever be in a wreck. Well, guess what? There he was in a wreck, hurt bad, no underinsurance. It can happen to you, it's no fault of his, sitting at a red light minding his business. Boom, gets hit. So, make sure, my friends, those of you that have not listened, get your underinsurance if you can afford it, put on your insurance policy. Okay?
Gary, is the big reason on that when you say I'm never going to be in a wreck, is that from fear? Is that because of you're afraid of a wreck? Is that why we put off on the things that we know are very probable?
If we understood the true danger of being on the highway, we wouldn't get on it. So we have to be in denial that it's not going to be us, because it's dangerous out there. And every time I talk to a client, they never planned on being in a wreck. They never dreamed they'd been in a wreck. And the reason is they wouldn't have got on the highway if they thought they were going to be in a wreck. So we have to shut it out of our mind as being something that's going to happen to us. But what I'm saying to you is, please don't shut it out of your mind. Get your underinsurance, my friends, if you can afford it. And it would have cost this friend of mine that didn't have it, he could afford it. He didn't have it. Now he's probably not going to get out of his case what he could have gotten for his injuries had he bought the underinsurance on his own policy. Let's take another break, then we'll come back to the computer, okay?
Very good point to start the program. Please stay with us. We have more Simply the Law with Gary C. Johnson after this break.
Hello, I'm Gary C. Johnson. Out of absolute necessity, which is the mother of all inventions, I developed a technique for handling cases for my clients. It was very much like judo, so I called it judo law. It works. My team and I, using this method, we have the largest verdict in the state of Kentucky, and no one has even come close to matching it. Today, my case is settled. I wonder why.
Welcome back into Simply the Law. Let's get back to Gary and get to the part of the show.
Okay, back to the computer, my friends. I started, I think last week, maybe talking a little bit about preserving evidence and protecting claims if you've actually been in a wreck, but I just want to talk to you a little bit more about that today. Be sure you get pictures of your car. The state police normally does not take photographs unless someone's killed. So you can't count on someone else to take pictures. You'll have a phone, it'll have a camera. If you can't do it, get somebody else to take pictures of your car. If the insurance company comes and gets your car and it's totaled, they will crush it and it'll be lost forever and you'll lose that evidence. So please. Now, I want to talk to you about one other thing. Let's get it back off the computer. This is important. More and more you're seeing recalls of cars, trucks, 3 million here, whatever. If you're in a wreck and there are serious injuries, hang on to your vehicle. And if you cause the wreck, be absolutely certain you hang on to your vehicle until someone can look at it to see if a defect in the vehicle actually caused the wreck. And the reason I'm saying this, it happens more and more. I'm seeing that, to where there's some defect in the vehicle.
Gary, I saw a national news story the other night that a certain vehicle that has the new computerized technology to brake for you was braking when you didn't need to brake, and it had caused over 800 accidents across the United States because the brakes were slamming on and people running into the back of them, or they were skidding off the road because the computer was taking over.
Well, it's become so computerized that cars can do strange things now. I had one guy that came in that was in a wreck, and he was talking about his truck, and he said, I'll be honest with you, Gary, I call that truck Frankenstein. It did such crazy things. And I had another client come in and say, I knew that car was going to get me. I said, what do you mean? He said, my friends called it Christine. That movie Christine where that guy had a demon. So you're seeing it more and more. So I wanted to talk to you, since I talked about that. If you're in a wreck, even if it's a one-car wreck, hang on to the vehicle so it can be checked out.
And I'm guessing you're telling us this because there's going to be data in there, inside the vehicle, in the computer, that is going to confirm your story that you're telling.
The new vehicles, the newer ones, all have electronic data storage and can be downloaded. Therefore, it's very important. If you're severely injured, when you get your attorney and have your vehicle checked, It may have had something go wrong. A seat may have failed that caused you to be hurt worse. The airbag may not have deployed when it should have, or the airbag may have deployed it when it shouldn't have. That contributed to your injuries. So be sure, if there's serious injuries, hang on to your vehicle. And if you cause a wreck and you've seriously injured someone, be certain you hang on to your vehicle so that it can be tested to see if that vehicle in any way contributed to you causing that wreck. Now, if you were drunk, don't hang on to it because you being drunk caused it. If you were texting and caused a wreck, don't hang on to your vehicle. But if you don't know why you wrecked, hang on to your vehicle. That's the point I'm making. In other words, you will know whether or not you may have had something else that contributed to causing the wreck.
Gary, you always tell our friends that anytime that you're in this situation or accident, tell the truth, tell the truth, tell the truth. This vehicle can also be used to either confirm you're telling the truth, or it can be used to show that you're not telling the truth if you said you weren't speeding, right?
A guy ran over somebody the other day and he testified, oh, I was doing less than the speed limit. When he got the download on his truck, speed limit is 55, he was doing 63. Man, a little bit of difference there.
Yeah.
To him, that might have been the speed limit, but it wasn't the speed limit. But folks, thank you for letting us come and visit with you today. I've goofed around and ran out of time. Didn't get to hardly any of the stuff I had on the computer. But guess what? We had fun, didn't we?
That is the main thing. And we up front, if you joined us late, the top 10 things that everyone wanted in life ended up being happiness number one. And you realized that all of the top 10 were connected to the fact you got to be happy with who you are.
If you're just happy and you accept yourself, the rest of it will take care of itself. And guess what? You are okay.
My friend, thank you for the information. Thank you for tuning in, especially the valuable information about hanging onto your car and the computer. You may have not have even known that that information was in there. On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. We thank you for watching this program, and Gary and I look forward to seeing you again next week, right here at the same time.
Thank you for watching Simply the Law, a program created by Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.
Hello, I'm Gary C. Johnson. Lawyers are spending millions of dollars asking you to give them a call. What could I say to you to make you want to give me that call? Well, how about the fact that I'm the one that's developed the concept of judo law? How about the fact that using judo law, my team and I, we set the record for the largest verdict in the state of Kentucky, and no one's even come close to it. How's that for a reason to give us the call?